I was like 10 years old. So it was a great $2 investment. Anyway, please do not be alarmed by that. I also just want to show you these crystals up close because if you're coming from the Facebook group, they didn't show very well in the picture. But this is the citrine. I don't know how people live with nails like this. This is the smoky quartz, and I'm going to, there we go. You see that? It has a nice little inclusion in there that creates a little rainbow. And then here we have the sodalite. And these are actually crystals that I use for myself for esophageal emergencies. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with set number 1. I'll move the other guys to the sides. All right, set number 1. Let's see who we've got this week. We have got the Age of Light. The World, nice. 9 of Pentacles in reverse, okay. And the 9 of Cups. All right, let's look at this Age of Light card. Very beautiful. And it says, you've been training for this for lifetimes. So this really speaks to, you know, your destiny, your fate, what you're meant to do, who you are at the, you know, at the core of yourself. And, you know, whether or not you believe in multiple lifetimes or not, you know, it's really speaking about being who you are. Like, what were you placed on this earth for? You know, what are you meant to be doing with your life right now? That's part of like your ultimate life fulfillment plan. And I really like seeing that along with the world. And I think for this week, I want you guys to be keeping an eye out and being very aware of opportunities that are being presented to you, especially with this 9 of Cups here. You know, this is a very, tends to be very positive card. Some people refer to it as the wish card. Sometimes I see that, sometimes I don't. In this case for you guys, I'm mostly seeing that there's like a lot of opportunity out there for you. And it's a good thing, and there's a lot of potential to bring in some positive energy with this opportunity, but you have to go for it. You have to be willing to accept what's coming towards you. You have to be open. You have to be aware. You know, before you can even accept, you have to be seeing what is before you and seeing what is coming towards you. And you have to have a little bit of ego this week. And I'm seeing that with this too. There's a sense of self-care. And I always say this whenever I bring up self-care because it's a buzzword right now. And a lot of people just equate it with taking bubble baths or doing like facials and getting nails done or conditioning your beard, you know, whatever. And that stuff is all wonderful. And we should do that because it makes you feel good. If it makes you feel good, you should do that. But self-care is a lot of different things. You know, I say it all the time. It's setting boundaries. It's standing up for yourself. It's speaking up for yourself. It's deciding what you're going to take on and what you're going to reject. It's deciding, you know, to maybe cut something toxic or negative out of your life. It's deciding to commit to a new way of thinking about yourself. And for a lot of you guys, I'm seeing like ego here in a good way, not like terribly, horribly egotistical, but more of acknowledging that you're an awesome person, acknowledging the skills that you have, and acknowledging your abilities, and acknowledging your potential. This is not this is not the week to be telling yourself that you suck at something. This is not the week to not have any belief in yourself. And I know it's a hard habit. It's hard to get out of the habit of, you know, self-doubt. And, you know, there's valid reasons for that. As I say, quite often, you know, self-doubt isn't just because you woke up one day and decided that you don't like yourself and that you don't feel like believing yourself. It comes from having negative experiences. It comes from, you may have had a period of success at one point and then that ended and it didn't end well. So you're shy to start something new because what if that happens again? And it comes from other people who are just assholes and who, chatter in your ear to say, to give you negative feedback or to purposefully plant doubt in your mind. Or even people that are like, they're just trying to like suck the air out of everything and suck the good out of everything. So those feelings have a valid starting point. This isn't the week for them. And I know it's easy for me to sit here and tell you to just not think negatively. So I'm not going to pretend that it's easy, but I want you to really try, and I want you to really think about who you are, think about who you want to be, and think about where you see your life going, and to try to frame it in a way that is more positive than negative. This doesn't mean that you can't be realistic. Like if you're like, I see myself owning a big old mansion, a yacht, and, like 50 greyhounds and some cats, that's awesome, but we know that's not going to happen at the end of the week, possible, right? So it's okay to be realistic and know that that might not happen by the end of the week, but what you can do is frame the way that you're looking at yourself and your goals in a more positive light and allow yourself to just feel that, better things are possible. But to really, really, like the big point this week is just having this sense of who you are and who you want to be, and just being comfortable in that and being comfortable with yourself and not like shrinking away, and being comfortable with having that moment where you say, you know what? I'm me. I'm proud of me. I love myself. As best that you can love yourself. That's not always possible, but just being okay with your goals, being okay with what you think you are meant to do, and giving yourself a little bit of an ego boost. And I know like it's very popular to not give yourself an ego boost. It's more popular to be humble and all of that, and that's fine, but sometimes you do need that ego boost. And sometimes you do need to just be like, you know what, I'm awesome. And if you're unable to feel that, if it's really a struggle for you, but you have friends or family members who are constantly telling you how awesome you are, it's okay to reach out and be like, listen, guys, I just need an ego boost right now. I just need some positive feedback. Tell me something great about myself. Anything where you can kind of open yourself up to a little bit more of a positive mindset about yourself and about your abilities. So this is not just about you just sitting there and being awesome. You are, but this is also about what you're bringing to the table in life right now. How you want your life to go and what you're willing to do to change some things right now. I'm loving, like I said, the world and the Nine of Cups cards together. It's a very nice combination. It brings about some more positive change, and can help you see things in a better light and help you see yourself in a better light. So again, repeating, this is about acknowledging yourself, about acknowledging your own power, your own abilities, your own talents and creativities, everything that makes you unique, and knowing that you do have something to offer. And that you do have a lot of really good things to bring to the table, and it's time to put that in motion. If it already has been put in motion, it's time to recommit to it and to continue down that road, and to just take a moment for yourself when you're like, you know what, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually doing the right thing, and being proud of yourself. There's no shame in that. All right. That was an easy one right out the gate. Alrighty, let's see what we've got for set number 2 with our little smoky quartz. We have got Unbound. Good. A lot of releasing. 4 of Wands. That's good-ish. Queen of Swords in reverse, dealing with some people who just aren't telling you amazing things, and the Hierophant. All right, so let's look at that. I'm gonna just hold these up. because I don't really have them in frame. We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. With this set of cards, by the way, I don't read off the meanings. Here we go. I don't know how people do this. Here's your Four of Wands in reverse. And then we'll start with Unbound. All right, so this is Unbound. And the blurb on this says, release soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So like in the other set that in the first set, you don't have to believe in the idea of past lives. You don't have to believe in reincarnation or anything like that. If you do, wonderful. If you don't, that's fine. But there's patterns that we go through our lives, and a lot of us will notice, if you really think about it, sometimes there's patterns to the good things that happen in our lives, and there can be patterns to the bad things that happen in our lives. And there's patterns when it comes to our own behavior and the way that we interact with other people, the way that we talk to ourselves, and the way that we interact with the world around us and events going on around us. So when there's negativity there, when there's old patterns that just aren't serving you anymore, when there's like that toxic energy and that negative sludge around you, it is fine to release it. And there's a lot of release happening right now. Like if you saw my reading last week, I did a beginning of autumn reading, and a lot of the messaging was about releasing the old and decluttering not just your physical space, but your emotional space as well, and clearing out toxic and negative energy, because we're going into the winter. We're going into a darker and cooler time for those of you in the northern hemisphere, and it's all about just wanting to enter that, with a clean house, so to speak. Spiritual house, physical house, emotional house. Just to have things tidied up a bit, because it's just easier. And so that's here again. This is releasing what doesn't serve you, what doesn't bring you joy anymore, who doesn't serve you. Because for a lot of you, I'm feeling outside influence. There's a big outside influence in these three cards. And for some of you, I feel you're going to have like a greater sense of spiritual understanding and a greater sense of yourself within your community, especially in a spiritual way. But for a lot more of you, I'm feeling that, you're in this energy of needing to be unbound because of the energy in these three cards here, with energy coming at you from other people. And, for a lot of you, for a medium amount of you, I feel that there's some family dynamics or close friendship dynamics that are kind of breaking away, kind of falling away, some sort of tension and conflict within a very, very close community with you. And I'm feeling more family and friendship rather than something like something more superficial. And for some of you too, this can be at work, but I really feel family and friendship here. But I feel that there's like a little bit of a breakdown happening, and you may have been trying to hold it all together. You may have been the one that's trying to be a peacekeeper. This is actually a repeat of energy from a few weeks ago when we did have people needing to be the peacekeeper and the people speaking up. For whatever reason, it's not working, or just causing a little bit too much tension for yourself, and it's getting you stuck in this energy where, I don't know if you can hear the crows back there. He's agreeing. It's getting you stuck in the energy where, you're just in that toxic cycle, that negative cycle, and it just doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel happy, and it holds you down and it pulls you back. And I feel a lot of you have people that are wanting you to conform to something that you're not okay with. They're trying to like put you into like their own little box, and they're trying to define you, and it may feel like oppressive. And there are so many little crows playing outside. Not little crows, they're huge, but it may feel oppressive to you. It almost feels like you can't, like I'm getting this sense of, when you're emotionally overwhelmed, you can't breathe. Like that anxiety, that the tension and the lack of harmony is causing. And for some of you, it's like one single person that is kind of driving it, but it involves the family, it involves the group of friends, but there's something centered towards one person who's been, I feel it's kind of a dick about things, kind of harsh with their words, with this reverse Queen of Swords energy. And you're kind of standing back like, do I say something? Do I not say something? Do I try to keep the peace? Or do I speak up and risk further disharmony, but stand up for myself and stand up for what's right? And that is your answer. It's speaking up. It's releasing. It's getting yourself out of that situation as best you can, recognizing that there are times when you can't get out of a situation. So, as best you can for speaking up for yourself, speaking up for the others that are involved. If there's a way that you can create peace, if there's a way that you can bring people together, that is amazing. But I feel for quite a few of you, you're going to have to just release the idea that things can go back to being perfect and things can go back to the way that they are. And it's going to be about moving away from that situation and possibly moving away from that group of people, because you need to be able to protect your heart. You need to be able to protect your own spirit. And you also need to protect them by teaching them that they can't get away with the way that they are speaking to you and the way that they're speaking to each other and the way that they're making you feel. For those of you, if you're in a situation where you can't speak up right now and you can't be assertive, the best that you can do is frame it in your mind and just remember who you are and remember the type of person you are, and don't allow their toxic junk to write your story. Right? You are writing your own story. So if they want you to conform and they want you to be boxed in, you might have to do that for your own safety right now on the outside, externally. But internally, if you're acknowledging that, this is hopefully temporary and that you're striving to survive, you're striving to move on eventually, and just knowing what you actually have in your heart that isn't giving into this conformity, it makes a big difference energetically, even if you can't physically be this person right now. It's okay. So a little bit heavy, but really it's about release. And I encourage you to check out last week's video. That was the autumn reading. It's just about releasing as much of that negativity as you can. And, it's negative thought, it's negative behaviors. And within yourself, it's your own negative behaviors. We all have them. Addictions, and it's not just addictions to illicit substances. It's addictions to, maybe foods that aren't the best for us, or habits such as, I don't know, hanging upside down, for like 3 hours until your head explodes. I don't know, but bad habits, or, falling into bad patterns that really aren't that great for you. It's time to flip that on its head and emerge out of all of that energy and release the old and continue on moving forward, not dragging any of the negativity with you. Okay? So all in all, it sounds heavy, but it's work that is needed to be done. And just again, it's popping into my mind now. Just remember, you can't always be the peacekeeper. And you can't always fix this. And it's okay. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is move on. You will all learn from that. Okay? All right. And now on to set number 3. Please ignore the sounds of my children outside my room. All right. We have got Don't Dim to Fit In. Wow. Everyone this week has like an oracle card that's all about like, being you and honoring yourself. King of Swords. Damn, that's nice. Yeah, King of Swords is not dimming himself to fit in. 6 of Pentacles. Nice. 3 of Pentacles. Really cool. Okay. So here we go. Don't dim to fit in. There's your image. And how are you dimming your light to fit in? A little bit similar to set number 2 because they had a sense of conformity going on there. But yeah, I'm seeing definitely, with this, obviously, there's other people around, and you need to work with other people. These 2 cards definitely need to work with other people. Share your talents. You need to freely give of yourself where you can. Freely give of, not always freely as in money freely, but be willing to share your talents and your resources, at the same time recognizing the balance that's in that, not giving too much so that you're draining yourself, but also being willing to accept constructive criticism from people, accepting feedback, and using that to really build a strong foundation for what you're working on right now. There's work involved here, whether it's actual, your 9 to 5 job work, or just working on your life, working on your health, working to heal, or working to just fix things up around the house even, and just improve things in your life. But it's not going to be there. This isn't a solo effort here. There's collaboration going on with other people. When you're collaborating with other people, though, you want it to be something that's evenly balanced, where everybody has a voice. And if you're meant to be a leader, you're doing so effectively and not arrogantly. But you're all contributing, and you're all acknowledging the talent and the benefits of one another, without trying to overpower each other. Now, you in this situation, King of Swords, and this is about being very strong and sure of yourself, communicating very effectively, very clearly. You have this amazing vision, amazing sense of planning, this ability to be able to parse through the bullshit and get things done, and knowing what you want to be done, have done, and knowing how you want to get there. But you're not really going at it alone. You're working with other people. But it's really important that you're not being held back by wanting to fit in with these folks, right? You don't want to just kind of you're the leader, not the follower, but in a very democratic way, where, everyone's having a voice, everyone's working together. But there's a sense that you have a lot of strength here that's needed, and that's being relied upon. So I know it might sound confusing when I'm you're this equal part of a group, where you want to work together with people so that you can, master your work, master your plan. This is really benefiting you. And, so you want to be this equal part of that group. At the same time, you don't want to just blend in. You're the standout. And you are the one that is speaking and working with authority. Okay, so we are, you just really, like I said with the first group of people, you are really acknowledging your strengths, your abilities, and you have to allow that to shine. That is going to be what brings you success with what you're building here with this 3 of Pentacles energy right here. This is building, this is laying a foundation, this is mastering things. It's going to take you further. And, in order to do that, you have to acknowledge your abilities. You have to be secure and confident in your abilities, and not get caught up in any kind of self-doubt that's telling you, well, you really not as good as you think, or any of that nonsense. It's okay to be proud of what you do, is what I told the first group of people, and it's very similar for you. As far as not dimming yourself to fit in as well, with the 6 of Pentacles, there's always this not always, but there's usually this energy of giving and receiving. You know, when you have when you have something of yourself to give, give it. When you can help, help. When you can donate, donate. There's times in your life when you need to be the person on the receiving end, and you have to be open to receiving help. You have to be open to receiving feedback. You have to be open to receiving constructive feedback. So you don't have to be open to people going like, oh, you're terrible at this and you don't know what you're doing. You don't need to be open to that. But if people are like, hey, you're doing great. I thought of a way that maybe, you know, we can make this go easier, or I have a different method that you might want to use. You know, it's being open to that, like, positive feedback and help. So recognizing that a balance needs to happen here, and sometimes you can dim yourself and you can dim your own energy and your own light because you're over here giving so much of yourself and not getting anything in return. And again, we often have to give without getting in return. You know, it's part of humanity. It's what helps us going. But at some point, you have to say, put up a boundary, you know, because it's not a sense of like I'm giving too much to charity and I'm getting nothing in return. It's not like that. It's giving so much of your energy and so much of yourself in a way that depletes you, and that's depleting your light and taking your energy away from focusing on yourself and away from bettering yourself. You know, it's just making you feel depleted. Like, the word depleted is just stuck in my mind. And I just, as I'm like going through this, I keep having this flash in my mind of a character from a TV show. The TV show is called What We Do in the Shadows, and the character is named Colin Robinson, and it's a show about vampires, but he's not like one of the sexy kind of vampires. He's like a energy vampire, and he feeds off of people's negative energy, and he feeds off of people's negative emotions, and, you know, he feeds off of their frustrations, right? And there are people like that can be around you, and, you know, they're like just sucking it away from you. And so it's about like not allowing that to happen, to keep this cycle flowing nicely and not get to a point where your scales are imbalanced and you're giving way too much of your own energy in, you know, in that negative way. On the flip side, again, we're collaborating here. We are working with other people. And so when other people want to help you, other people have a way to assist you, you know, whether it's financially, whether it's with their own talents, whether it's just with, you know, their feedback, be open to that. You know, if you can truly do something on your own and it's fine and it doesn't take away from you and it doesn't dim your light and it's not depleting you, great. But if you're like saying, oh, no, I don't need help, I don't need money, I don't need any of that, because you're feeling too humble, because you don't want to inconvenience other people, because you don't want people to see you as weak, stop. Accept the help. Allow yourself to feel worthy of the help. Allow yourself to realize that it's actually very strong to ask for help and to accept help. Okay? So we don't want that to get out of balance. And, you know, we're keeping our light shining bright, really feeling this King of Swords energy. You know, when you need to be that leader and when you need to use your authority, use your voice, do so. And remember, you want to do that, you know, in an even-mannered way. You don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to be aggressive. You can be assertive, but let's not be aggressive. You know, you want to be clear. And when you're communicating with people, when you're working with people, when you're dealing with them and telling people what you need, telling people what you have to give, be clear, be honest, be very truthful, and, you know, don't let anything be muddy, don't let anything be wishy-washy. But really, again, a lot of working together, a lot of, you know, you're really building on something, and it's great. So keep at it. and, be willing to see what part each person around you plays in this, and to utilize their offerings when you can, and to give of yourself as well when you can. But be you. Be true to yourself. Remember who you are. Don't let other people bring this down. Keep that light on. All right? So, not a bad reading at all. All right. So that is it for this week. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you need anything clarified, feel free to reach out to me. I hope that this resonated with you. It is a very general reading, so it's for everybody who watches this, who comes across this. So take what works for you, leave the rest for others. But I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is healthy, and wherever you are, I send you lots of love and blessings, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you. Bye.